Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 374. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing good. Not too bad. Why are you giving me that face?
I wasn't
gave me
even
a
putting a
face.
face. I
You
was
gave me
just
a
looking.
face.
I was just looking at you.
I don't like that.
Okay.
Look the other way. Look at somebody else.
And the one and only Matt, how are you?
I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. I'm worried for your neck right now, though.
I'm not allowed to look
keep it
at
like
Crash
that.
right now, so
You're
I have
good,
to look
you're
up
good.
at you. I'm looking up at you, okay? So I'm looking in my top.
Okay, you can turn your head back. You
Okay,
can turn your
thank
head
you.
back.
Thank you.
I
I
mean,
appreciate it.
I'll be honest. As far as I'm concerned, and the people watching the video concerned, you were looking at Crash that whole time. So,
On my end, I'm looking at you.
well, on my end, you're looking at Crash. Only the live viewers then will know that you were looking at Crash and you fucked up that joke. So there we go.
So right now, I'm looking at who?
Crash, I guess.
Okay,
I mean, this
don't-
isn't good podcasting.
Hey,
This
this
is-
You're
is
in it.
great podcasting. This is you have to go to the YouTube video to check that out,
Cross
and while
promotion.
you're
That's all
there,
this is.
you hit the subscribe button. It's absolute amazing podcasting. What are you talking about? I've been doing this for many years, young buck. You don't tell me what good podcasting is. I tell you what good podcasting is. If you want the show early, head over to patreon.com/mcfixer. Help support the show financially. Like we were saying with the YouTube channel, youtube.com/myxboxandme is where you can catch the show live. And, of course, with some other goodies. So go check all of that out when you can, please. So we're going to show this week, boys. Xbox Tokyo Game Show just happened today. We've
Yep.
hit it perfect timing. They showed a plethora of new games. Is this in order, Crash?
I do not believe so.
Okay, well I won't pretend.
Because I
this
went
is in
after the fact and got the list of the games.
All good. First of all, what did you think of Tokyo Game Show? But Tokyo Game Show isn't for us. It is
Yes.
so apparently not for the Western world, and I love that about the show. But I also think it's very easy for us to come here and either react to content and go, "Oh, that was crap," or
Yeah.
us to talk about it right here on the podcast and go, "Oh, that wasn't much." But it's not for us.
Yeah.
So, what did you think?
It was a great watch on 2x speed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you said. It's not for us. It's very apparent that it's meant for the Japanese market, and so I wasn't a huge fan of it. But it looked fine for what the target audience was for it.
I felt like the big thing here was there was no big gigantic game in my head. But then I see games like Danganronpa. We're going to talk about it throughout. Danganronpa, obviously Persona being reiterated that it's going to Xbox as well, amongst many other games. I felt like it was a very good showing for games that I was like, oh, I've heard of that game because it's on PlayStation or Switch or another system. Cool, it's coming to Xbox. That's actually really cool. And I do think they saved one bit of news here that did matter to the Western audience, which is obviously Deathloop, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But overall, I enjoyed the show. Matt, did you have a chance to check it out?
I did not. I just skimmed through it very, very briefly before we went live. But no Kojima.
No Kojima.
I thought we may have got the little VT. Nothing
No.
concrete whatsoever, but I thought just wheel him out once again was quite likely. But hey ho, like you said,
VGAs are soon. VGAs are soon. You know, we'll see Kojima there.
That's true.
Will it be about his podcast about a game? We have no clue, but we'll see him there.
He'll be there. Yeah, I mean, to go through the list of games that were shown in no particular order, we got Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle and Guilty Gear Strive, which are both games that are coming to Xbox. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, both in Game Pass as well. I might have got that wrong.
Don't believe so.
There
I
was
might
a
be
lot
wrong about
added to. There
that.
was a lot that was on Game Pass during this showcase.
Yeah.
I might have got that bit wrong, but Chris, you're a fighting game fan. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's good to see more of these titles coming to Xbox, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Blaze Blue Cross Tag is a little bit old at this point, but Guilty Gear Strive is actually a really big one. It is probably one of the biggest fighting games right now, if not one of the best. I think it's up there with like Tekken and stuff like that. So that I think is actually a huge get for Xbox to finally have that on the platform.
Blaze Blue Cross Tag coming to Game Pass.
Okay.
Also has crossplay, if I'm not mistaken. I might be reading that wrong. Yeah, that is confirmed for Game Pass. Which, yeah, I agree with you. It's though an older title, still a very good one to have in the repertoire
Yeah.
on the system, right?
Yeah, I think the good thing about both of these games coming is that the only Arc System game that's been more recent, which is the company that made those, the studio that made them, is the Dragon Ball Fighters. And so seeing Guilty Gear, which is their mainline fighting game that they make, they own the IP and everything. So seeing that come is sort of like, okay, well then there's no reason the next game they make and the next game after that shouldn't be coming to Xbox at this point anymore.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that, and that's kind of what I felt about that, Danganronpa, Ni no Kuni, all of these titles that were shown today was like, okay, the bridge has now been made in terms of partnerships, relationships, however it is you want to call it. Hopefully this means the next new titles in whatever the series is, we get it day one. Guilty Gear also in Game Pass. I was right.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Well done, Fix. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. We spoke about it not too long ago about fighting games as well, and coming to Game Pass and things like that. I remember, was it Original Cookie Man who brought it up? I think during the question.
Yeah.
I feel like they're two big fighting games that Xbox now have in Game Pass, which is obviously huge.
Yeah, I agree. I think overall for fighting games in general, there's Street Fighter and Tekken, which we'll talk about later in the podcast. But Xbox is finally getting a majority of fighting games, where previously we've talked about it. It's like fighting games just don't come to Xbox. They're more Japanese focused and whatnot. And seeing that change and more of them coming, I think is it's a good sign for fighting games in general. But B, also, I think it's a good thing for Xbox because a lot of fighting games, even if it's just the base version of game, makes sense for those to go on Game Pass as sort of after a certain amount of time as sort of an advertisement for the game and like, hey, buy the season pass and buy the characters and buy the DLC and stuff like that. I think it's a very fitting combination.
Yeah. Are you happy to see, obviously, Guilty Gear, I believe was one you spoke about on the podcast when it was on PlayStation? I think you played it on, or was it on PC?
Yeah, I played it on PC. I play on PC. But yeah, I'm super excited. That game's very fun. I think it has crossplay, if I'm not mistaken, at this point. So that's just really dope to see, opening up that sort of player base as well even more. I think that's probably one of the bigger things for niche like a fighting game, is that having more players and that bigger player base helps the game a lot. And I think that's also very, very dope.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. Moving on, we had Ni no Kuni Remastered announced for Xbox and obviously in Game Pass as well. Again, it's not a game that everything we speak about here, other than maybe AC, Deathloop, and Wulong, are games that Power World. There's a few. That didn't really interest me, but again, it was one of those games where I'm like, I know the name, I know the art style, which is amazing. And it's amazing to see it not only come into Xbox, but come into Game Pass as well. It just opens up. I cannot imagine, I'm not trying to be a corporate shield here, but it's like, I cannot imagine not having Game Pass. I'm at that point now where I'm like, there's too much that gets added and frequently enough that I'm like, number one, how is this profitable? Clearly it is. Clearly it's working. But number two, like, it gives me a chance to try out a game like this and then go, it's not for me. And I don't feel burnt on it at all. Matt, are you looking forward to Ni no Kuni at all?
I'm looking forward to jumping into all of these and trying them, especially if they're available via cloud, which I'm not sure if they are or not. But it would kind of surprise me if they're not, because the Japanese market is such like a huge mobile audience with a good internet infrastructure for, the big cities in Japan at least. And so like, yeah, I think this is awesome. And just again, serves that audience. One of the things they mentioned early on was how successful the Series S has been out there.
Yeah.
And getting that Microsoft machine into people's houses and getting them used to it. And if all these things are available on phone as well, I think that's going to be a huge boon to them.
I can't remember if it was Ni no Kuni or Danganronpa they definitely showed on Cloud. I can't remember which one. One of the two, I believe, they definitely showed, because it had the control scheme on it on the screen and stuff.
I think it was Danganronpa.
Yeah, I thought it was
I
as
could be
well.
mistaken about that though.
I should say as well, like the fighting games obviously aren't gonna be great on cloud. Well,
No.
I don't know, maybe they'll be fine,
No.
but
Killer Instinct song there. I haven't seen people complain about it, so.
That's because no one's playing it.
I was gonna say.
Oh, that hurts. That just hurt.
Next up was Danganronpa V3, also coming to Game Pass as well. Another game again. I haven't had an interest in playing, but a game that I know was definitely. I think it was on Vita as well, and it's been a long running franchise that just has never made it to Xbox. So it's good to see it here. To be honest with you.
100%.
Yeah, I've
What-
heard a lot of good things about it as well. Like a lot, like for a lot of people, it is one of their favorite franchises if they do like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, which one I think is going to interest all of us in talking about, especially Matt P by the smile on his face, Power World. I think this was probably the best showing I've seen of it so far, in terms of me understanding what the game was, which is ultimately it is Pokemon with guns. That is what this game is. It is unapologetically that, and for that
How are
I kind of
Nintendo
love
letting
it.
this happen? How is it happening legally? Some of these characters,
Legally,
like, you-
would you?
Nintendo can't stop that.
you could walk out into the street and show people a character from Power World and a character from Pokemon.
Doesn't
They would
matter.
not be able to tell the difference.
No.
Unless it's the
but-
same thing, you can't stop it.
Yeah. No,
It's just
What
wild
did you
to me.
think of it? What did you think of the showing?
Every time I see this game, I am more excited to play it because it's feckin' mad. What the hell is happening? Not Pokemon, pals are mining in a mine, and
Yep.
I can make a gun factory and a sweatshop, and like, the hell is happening in this game? I'm so excited.
That's the part I forgot to mention was the crafting and stuff that they showed off as well, which I was
Yeah.
like, this looks like a fixer game. I'm not gonna lie, this looks
I-
so good.
I was talking to Matt before the podcast, and that's exactly what I
It's a
said.
fixer game. It is a fixer
fixer game, yeah.
game, and I was just like, I literally because I get this game mixed up with I believe it's not Square Enix's game, the other one where it's like the big city and it kind of looks Pokemon-esque.
Pokken?
Yeah, Pokken,
Or something like that.
whatever
I know
it
the
is,
one
yeah.
you're talking about. I know the one
Yeah.
you're talking about.
I
yeah.
got these two mixed up, so I thought this was that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." And then I saw this, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what the hell? Oh, I have seen this before. Oh." And you're right. I saw a character just like Lapras, and I was like, "I'm for it. I'm all for it. Like rip
too.
Pokemon off as much as you humanly possibly can,
Mate,
and like,
make a good Pokemon game finally. You know.
bro, like mad, yeah."
The only thing I'm slightly afraid of with this game is that there will be so much, it'll be so obtuse and like just too complicated and too many things going on and too many things thrown at you. I could definitely see that happening. It's the way I always felt about, and probably wrongly at this point, but the Monster Hunter series. Played them way back in the day and was like, my little child brain couldn't handle the amount of things that were happening and that I had to do. And so I could imagine this being similar, maybe. Hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, I see the argument that you have there. I don't think so, considering what we saw today. It was very self-explanatory to me what we were getting ourselves into. But like you say, hopefully there are deeper mechanics than just run around shooting, throwing Pokeballs, and they literally lure Pokeballs at Pokemon that are not Pokemon. But hey, like I say, I'm all for it personally. All bloody for it. Next up is Fuga?
Fuga Melodies.
Sure.
I
don't remember
what
this
game
one.
this is.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm looking up now.
Oh, this is the one that's made by CyberConnect 2. It's a RPG. I think it was on the Switch previously exclusively. So this got shown here, and then they also showed the sequel, which I assume means it's coming to Xbox as well.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, not one that even stuck out into my brain, to be honest with you. So, not for me. Not for me. Next up, we have. Go on, Crash, hit me.
Kiriko.
Thank you. Kiriko,
You're welcome.
another one. This was so as soon as I saw the game, I was like, oh, it's Overwatch. And then as soon as I saw the character, I was like, oh, this actually looks really cool. Forgetting that Overwatch 2 isn't out yet because I'm forgetful. I totally thought that Overwatch was out by now.
Me too.
No,
It really is.
I think it comes out in like December or something like that, isn't it?
No, it's October, right?
No. It's
Is it
October.
October.
October?
Soon.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah. It's
Okay, I
coming,
thought it
like,
was even
soon.
further out.
Isn't that just the online and then the PVE campaign
Yeah,
thing is
so
December maybe?
no, they delayed the actual like story and campaign stuff because that's what's been delaying the game is
Yeah.
their work on that. So they're like, okay, people have been complaining enough. Let's just put out the multiplayer and get that ball rolling while we still work on the single player stuff. So
Well, Kuriko is a support class character. She's a healer. Looked very in sync with Genji, I believe people have been saying. Like, that's similar.
she has the wall climb that
Yeah.
Hanzo has. Does Genji have a wall climb as well? He probably does.
I don't know.
No, he has the double jump. I don't think he has the wall climb. I think that's Hanzo. I could be wrong, but she throws the kunai, Genji throws the shuriken. It's very, very in line with those two characters either way.
Yeah.
I thought she looked cool. I thought it was a really cool design. Her kit seems fun. I think she'll be very fitting in the game.
Matt, you an Overwatch guy?
I was when it first launched, and I fell off hard and fast. But I think what Overwatch does is it's the strength of its characters, right? Like it's these interesting, both visually and mechanically, characters that you just want to play and know more about, and the diversity in that, right? Like feels natural to that world and that game, whereas sometimes it feels shoehorned, and just that isn't the case in Overwatch. So yeah. I'm excited for Overwatch 2, but equally confused and kind of thought it was out. And so if I thought it was out and I wasn't playing it, am I actually going to play it when it comes out?
I feel like
Maybe
once the conversation starts around it, when Chris comes on this bloody podcast and goes, "We have to play," and I go, and then it's like, "Come on, you never want to play anything with me," and I go, "Okay," and then I play it and I enjoy it. Maybe I'll be in, but I don't see it. I right now, if you said to me to put money on, am I gonna dive into Overwatch 2? No chance.
I think it has the potential, probably not to the same extent, but to capture the zeitgeist in the way that Elden Ring did earlier on in the year, where like my TikTok feed is just fucking Overwatch shit, and and that then sort of would encourage me to play, I think, and so.
Yeah, I think the difficulty with Overwatch is a lot of the stuff that's in there is old. At the end of the day, it's like characters we've seen. So how much I think there'll be like 3 characters overall, 2 of which have already gone through the ringer of getting content made about them. So there'll really be 1 new character. Have you guys heard about how the battle pass works for this game?
Nope.
And how characters are attached to battle pass?
Nope.
So the characters are attached to the free track in the battle pass now, instead of just outright being for everybody.
Okay.
Which I am torn about. You can also just buy the character, which I think is the reasoning for what they're doing. And I'm kind of torn about it.
Is it going to be similar to Multiverses in the way that like different seasons have different initial characters unlocked, and then you unlock the rest through the battle pass and stuff like that?
I think it's every other season they said is going to have a new character with it.
Okay.
So it's not every season, but whenever there is a new character, they're unlocked through the battle pass. And I'm torn with it.
The paid battle pass or the free battle pass?
The free battle pass. So you can earn the character for free, or you can just outright buy them.
I personally don't.
So there's
I
not
don't
really
have
a problem.
with it. I don't see the problem.
Yeah.
With it. I understand why people are conflicted on it, but I think people also need to get over the fact that Overwatch is now a free-to-play game.
I was going to say, they also got rid of loot boxes. So it's like, how do you up the money you're getting in on a free-to-play game, which is important to keep the free-to-play going and making new content for it.
Yep.
And I think this is a good middle ground where anybody who just plays the game, you can still earn it. I am curious if after the battle pass ends, how then getting that character is. Do you then have to buy that character? Which I wouldn't. I would prefer that, because that also means once a character needs to be paid for, that hopefully more focus goes in on characters, where Overwatch 1 did have this issue of like character drought and just getting stale over time, that hopefully this makes them focus on that more as well. But it really is a mixed bag until we see more of how they're doing it and how it works.
Fair enough. Anything to add on Overwatch 2, Matt, before I move on?
I don't think so. Like you say, we got to see how that works, right? And how that's received by the community and what that means for balance and all these other things. And so I'm excited. Like I say, if I think it captures the zeitgeist in the way that I think it could when it launches, I would be excited to jump in with you guys.
Yeah, I can see us playing. I can see us playing it.
Yeah.
once or twice. I just don't know if it's going to be the game that. What?
Vix will commit to playing it once and then
No,
dip.
no, no. I'm open to like, bro. I've been gagging for a new shooter to dive into, but I think honestly, I feel like Call of Duty is going to be that game this year.
I don't think I don't ever classify like Overwatch as a shooter. I don't think I ever classify it as filling in that shooter gap for me.
For me,
It is
it
much
does.
more. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm picking this over COD, or I'm picking this over Rainbow. I'm
No.
picking this over like one of those type of games, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I don't like. I think when it comes to like filling in that niche for you, I don't think you would ever pick Overwatch over it because I don't think it'll give you that same type of fulfillment as those games. Is more so what I'm saying.
I feel like it does though. Overwatch to me again, it's another game that I'm like, I only find Overwatch fun when I play it with friends, and it's similar to Rainbow. Like as much as I love playing Rainbow, but Rainbow with friends compared to Rainbow without friends, chalk and cheese at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't. It's a hard one.
When you say you think you could see Call of Duty becoming like your end of year game or whatever, like the game that
My
you keep
shooter,
coming back
yeah.
to. Yeah. Are you're not thinking about Warzone, you're thinking about
No.
6v6
Yeah.
dominations.
Yeah, Modern Warfare
Really?
2. Modern Warfare 2. Yeah. I mean, I haven't played a Call of Duty properly. Like, I'm talking grinding for skins, going for gold. Like, I haven't done that since Modern Warfare 1. Like, Call of Duty 4. Like, that was the last time I was... Yeah, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. Even the remake didn't get me... And there's a weird buzz right now around COD. Where like people are super excited for Modern Warfare 2. Story-wise, I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy it because we really
100%.
loved the original. It won our Game of the Year 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
I think it would have been 2 at this
2 years
point.
ago, I think. Yeah. So like the story, I feel like the story is gonna be actually pretty good. But it's the multiplayer where I'm like, I've had multiple people reach out and be like, "Oh, you going in on COD this year?" And I'm like, I don't know, but if there's enough people that are saying it, it's going to convince me to want to play it, you know?
Yeah, it was also 3 years ago.
3,
Cold
yeah. I thought
War and
3. I thought it
Vanguard,
was 3, yeah.
To me, the idea, like I like the idea because I played so much COD 4 Modern Warfare and Black Ops 2. The idea of going back to that just feels really old school to me at this point. Like fucking retro. Going back to like a 6v6 domination match or whatever when Warzone exists and is, I don't know. I can't imagine myself going back and enjoying it for some reason. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I don't disagree with you. I do think like Vanguard's probably a bad example because that game had like a whole bunch
Vanguard
of
just weren't good.
issues with it.
Yeah.
But you could also say that about Cold War, and I even think Modern Warfare. This conversation was there as well. You had Warzone as the dominating factor. I think depending on when the next Warzone launches depends on whether I think this game has an opportunity for it to stand and run and really become something.
I have no interest in going back to Warzone.
So not even Warzone 2? Nothing?
No, so Warzone, yeah, when there's a new Warzone.
That's what I'm saying.
100
Yeah, exactly.
No, I knew what you were saying, but I was just saying.
Got it.
I have no interest to go back to like that game. I will tell you, Warzone holds a very special place in my heart because obviously lockdown was just literally every single day of every single minute of like my childhood friends were hitting me up to play. Obviously, me and Matt played. Like we streamed it all the time. It was like, but I thought about it the other day where I was like, oh, I might download, and I was like, no. I'm gonna go in and get destroyed.
Yeah, it's too much at this point. I think that game had a problem with its own the way it formed meta with people being able to create classes instead of introducing new guns. So I do hope whenever we get a Warzone 2, that is something they sort of examine and like readjust. Because it is hard to go back after a long period of time of being away from the game where it's like you can't even make a good look because you don't have any of the good guns.
Yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. If you don't stay with it and stick with it and unlock the battle passes and keep moving with COD, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. So, yeah. Next up, we had Wulong. Kind of had like a little dev diary of this game. So it's Wulong Fallen Dynasty. Dynasty. Sorry,
It's an
words.
American UK
Yeah,
thing.
that's literally what just hit me. I was like, wait, that was American the way I just said that. I like the look of this game until, they said it's going to be very, very hard. And I was like, oh, man, like, you couldn't just let me have a game like this that's not hard, could you? Like, it makes sense why it's hard. I understand. Like, that's the way it's designed. But,
Yeah, it's just Team Ninja at this point. I think you have the Neo, you have Stranger's Paradise. I think even the one they announced for at the State of Play, all look like they're going to be in the same realm of difficulty and challenge. And if you like those, I think this game's going to be great. But if that's not really your thing, I do think this might not be the game for you.
the good thing about this is it's in Game Pass as well.
Yeah.
Ka-ching. As somebody who's never played a Ninja, is it Team Ninja?
Yeah, Team Ninja, yeah.
Yeah. Game. Which one should I play?
This one.
Well, yeah.
From what's already out, I would say Neo 1 or 2. I
Neo's
think,
very good.
yeah, I think it's really your pick. There's slight differences between them. I think Neo 2 is the more modern one. But there are Neo 2 goes into more having powers and stuff like that to a degree that Neo 1 doesn't have. I think either of them are really good picks, though.
Might check them out.
You're not going to.
Who got time for that shit? you know?
Exactly.
No.
And last two announcements here. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's Odyssey. Going into Game Pass today. Interesting choice to show that here. If I'm honest, I was just a bit okay.
Yeah, I wonder if
Assassin's Creed's got a big audience in.
Yeah, and I wonder if this goes hand in hand with the from Ubisoft on the Assassin's Creed Code Red announcement. It's sort of like, hey, let's put Odyssey on Game Pass and make that announcement at Xbox, sort of for the fans over there to sort of get hyped for Code Red as well.
It makes perfect sense. Done by the same team. This is the game that we did previously. We're taking our game into a part of the world that we know you're gonna want to know if we've done it right. So why not play our previous game, see if you like that, and then maybe you won't be so culture shocked in what the game is when it finally comes out, right?
Yeah.
And last but not least, Deathloop is finally headed to Xbox after its year of exclusivity on PlayStation 5. It will be coming to Game Pass on September 20th. So, 5 days. Next
5
Tuesday.
days.
Next Tuesday. I'm surprised they didn't do
excited.
it. I thought they were going to do it. Nah.
There's
No,
got to be a reason for it, whatever the reason is. It could be update because I'm pretty sure it's coming out with an update that's supposed to hit PlayStation as
All the new
well.
fixes,
With cross-play,
things like that,
new
yeah.
weapons, new enemies, and stuff like that. So I'd imagine that's what it is to hit day and date with whatever update the PlayStation side gets.
Did you say it's getting crossplay?
Yes.
Yeah, it is getting crossplay.
I did not expect that for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense from Xbox's point of view.
Sure.
Why they... It was... Yeah, no, it makes... It doesn't surprise me at all that it's got crossplay, to be honest with you. Especially the type of game it is, the whole invading and stuff like that. It's to have more people to invade and things like that makes ton of sense.
100%. I just hadn't expected it for some reason. Caught me
Fair enough.
off guard.
Fair enough. Let's jump into the news this week, boys. Before we do that, let me give a shout out to our Patreon producers this week. The one and only Aaron God and FNH Pool. We won't do news. We're going to what's been in our box beforehand, shall we? Thank you, boys, for the support. So, I can't speak for her, but I can let you guys know Haley has been playing Disney Dreamlight. Once she's played a bit more of it, we will have her on the podcast to review it for us. And when I say review it, it's more going to be, what do you think of the game? And her go, blah, 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 and then that'll be it. She's not going to sit here and be like, mechanics, this, and stuff like that, yeah? So don't expect it, because she will get super flustered as soon as we start asking her questions. But she has been playing it. I watched her play a bit of it, and oh my god, this game is just Animal Crossing, isn't it? It's just Disney Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, talk to us about it. You like it?
It's great. It's great. But it's like Animal Crossing meets a little bits of Stardew, but nowhere near as complex as Stardew. It's very much about chatting to your Disney villagers, getting them all to come back to the village, populating the village with all the Disney characters, making sure everybody likes you, and cooking food for them and giving them presents. And it does that cool thing where it's like, unlike sort of Stardew Valley, where you have to maintain your energy and, you know, fill up your watering can, all this stuff. All of that's way simplified. Your tools don't break. Your watering can's never empty. You never have to sleep. You just eat food that you find on the ground. It's great. It's all of that, but simple and got all the Disney stuff in it, and it's great.
I have a question, and this is a very serious question on whether I will like it or not.
No, Crash, stop.
What?
You will not like this game.
I just want to ask my question. Can I marry Woody?
Oh, okay. Oh,
So, Woody,
I
not
respect.
Mhm.
in the game yet. On his way, I believe.
Can I marry any Disney character?
No.
0 out of 10.
Crash,
think
this
that's
is
fair.
not a you game, bro. Let me tell you.
0 out of 10.
Not 0 out of 10. I respect that. I watched Haley play and I went, oh god, no.
I'm gonna be honest, I've seen gameplay for it, and I'm like, I like Stardew Valley. I like those.
This isn't Stardew.
Yeah,
This
no,
is-
that's what I'm saying. I like
Yeah,
those
yeah,
type of
me
games,
too.
and I saw this, and I'm like, no, this is like
This is
child's
baby's
version
first.
of.
Yeah.
This is baby's first baby version of
Yeah.
Stardew Valley.
Not even
It
no,
is-
not even Stardew. It's definitely Animal Crossing.
Yes, it's way closer to Animal Crossing, but they've done away with all of the wait 24 hours for this thing to be built. Like, there's none of that, but everything's instant.
I have heard that like certain characters are only up during certain times of the day
Yeah.
based off what time your console is as well,
Yes,
though. So
they do have
it
that.
does
They
have
do
that.
have certain things in it. Like Haley said to me that she had to go and check on her plants, and I was like, "Does that not just happen automatically?" She's like, "No, it's like Stardew. Like you have to wait for the trees to grow or something like that, something along those lines."
So your day-night cycle is based on where you are. So
Okay.
like the day-night cycle is like, if I went on it this evening, it would be night. If I
Yeah.
went on it tomorrow morning, it would be morning. And so that happens. So far, and this might be different when you find more crops to plant or whatever, everything only needs to be watered once, and then you can leave it for as long as you want. It takes probably 20 seconds for that thing to grow, but then you can just leave it there if you don't want to pick it right now or whatever it is. Go on,
The
Crash.
difference between Matt and Haley is Matt is inefficient with his time. Haley's like, I gotta get to my plant right now because it's
So,
done growing
I'll tell
and
you-
plant the next thing.
She did tell me that she like skipped half the tutorial and was like, "Oh, I'm picking up." She found a pickaxe before she was meant to, and she's like, "I've played the game like this before. I don't care about whatever you're saying. I know what I need to do." So she just went off and was like, "Boom."
Yeah, that will fuck you a little bit in that you need to just kind of hold hands with Merlin for the first probably hour of the game while he teaches you how to do stuff and talks you through the process of doing things in the order he wants you to do them in.
That's not how Haley rolls.
Haley doesn't need Merlin. Merlin needs Haley.
Exactly.
Don't get it twisted.
Exactly.
That's fair enough. But yeah, for me, it is the perfect podcast game. Throw it on. I'll enter a new biome and it'll be like, oh, now it's playing Moana music. This is fucking great. And like, I just really like it. I
Yeah,
really like it.
Again, I'll let her talk for herself when she finally comes on and talks, but she said there's like the perfect game for her to play after work. Like she loves video games just as much as us, but she's not a great gamer and she gets very stressed and pissed off at games very easily. She said like this after work is like turn off her brain, she can just play. And I said to her about obviously having cloud saves and stuff. I was like, you can play it on the laptop if you want, and then that way you can watch TV at the same time. She's like, oh my god. So now she's like getting ready to install it on the laptop so she can play while she watches TV. It's like the perfect like side project for her while she's getting on. And during that podcast, I said I'd pay her, so now she keeps talking about that. So I
Ooh.
said salary or something like that, and now she
Whoops.
keeps saying, "I can't wait for you to pay me for all this work I'm doing." I'm like, oof,
Damn.
oof. Awkward.
Here's what I will say about it is I think the basically you have to go to these other worlds to collect the characters of Disney who have forgotten that Dreamlight Valley exists. Cute.
Oh, okay.
But these other realms that you go to are tiny. Like Remy from Ratatouille is literally a kitchen. It's literally a room. And you go and you do some missions in this kitchen for him, and then he comes back to Dream Valley, and there's no reason to ever go back to that other realm, as far as I can tell. Maybe things will change. But I was surprised at how small those little offshoots are. It's all about going there, spending as little time as possible there, getting the character back to your hub world. But I think what Disney has done very well here is just gone, oh yeah, we'll just do Animal Crossing, but with all the fucking characters you like. And if they start introducing Marvel and Star Wars and everything else they can shove their hand into, this could go on forever and be wild and great, and it will get back in every goddamn time.
Do you know if the Toy Story content is a free update or a paid update?
Good question. I had assumed it was all free. I believe the game is free to play. I think they've said it's free to play, isn't it? It's in early access right now, but when it launches, it's going to be free to play.
Yeah. I don't think it would be free to play because it's on Game Pass, but I could be wrong. You can always put a free to play game on Game Pass. Nothing's stopping you. I will say I would be worried about the game in terms of the long term if it is free to play and they have it, and what type of microtransactions that would have. If it's all cosmetic, I don't really care. That's fine. Whatever.
It's an interesting point. I don't know if the Toy Story update is free or not. I had assumed that it was. I have not run into any situation where I've even thought or considered about spending money in this game.
As it's early access, it could be like all the updates up until it's fully done are free to play. And then whatever's after that.
There is a battle pass that gets you like cosmetic. I haven't bought it, but it gets you like cosmetics, like t-shirts and pins for your character and stuff like that. So maybe that's just how they're going to make their money. I don't know.
I'm trying to look up the update right now, so I could see what we are getting.
But like I say, this could end up, essentially looking like almost as ridiculous as Fortnite when you're running around and fucking Darth Vader's in his house over there and Mickey Mouse is over here and Wolverine is hanging out in the garden.
I wonder if they will go so far as to add Marvel characters. I don't think they will.
I don't think it'll come soon. I could see it coming in a year's time or something like that.
There's so many Disney properties.
Sure. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I would love to see it.
I feel like the Marvel characters, for the most part, I think there's a couple that you could possibly add, but for the most part, just don't feel like they would belong in a game like this.
I agree. The thing that kind of made me feel differently about that is that, and maybe this is a bit more silly, but like new school characters interacting with old school characters. Like, I can't even remember his name. The hot guy from Frozen is like hanging out with Donald Duck and they're having like conversations and they're having storylines together. And for some reason, to me, that felt almost as divorced as a Marvel and Mickey Mouse or whatever.
You've never played Kingdom Hearts?
Oh, well, that is very true. That is very true.
I've seen... Go ahead.
On the early access roadmap, 3 updates. You've got launch, obviously. You've got Lion King update, which is meant to be full 2022. You've got Scar, main story continues and more surprises. And then late full 2022, update 2, new characters, which is the Toy Story arc, which is new characters, new realms, more surprises. And then it says more updates to come in 2023. So free, both of the characters and stuff like that is all free, and all that content is free.
Okay. And it's still in early access right now.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was an early access game. I've got to be honest with you.
It's a $30 game, so you can buy it right now for $30. The base version, and they have a deluxe and an ultimate edition. So I wonder if the price will jump up to $60 once the game's done. And that's just the price for early access.
Possibly.
I will say for early access, like I've probably put maybe close to maybe not 20 hours, maybe close to 10 hours in, and I've still got like stacks to do. Like I can see everything I've got to do, right? And there's loads. One other tiny little thing that just made me kind of happy inside for some reason is that if you're wandering around and you see 2 characters talking to each other over there, they'll have like little speech bubbles above their head. They refer to you as their glorious leader, which feels very North Korean dictator to me and makes me happy.
I rate it.
Me too.
100%. Crash, what have you been playing?
I played Temtem Fix.
Oh,
I've been playing Temtem.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I've been playing. What invite? I was still waiting on you to honor the invite from however long ago.
When I convinced you to buy it. What, is it good or?
I enjoy it. I think it's more of the same of what we had played back then. So I don't think if you enjoyed that, you would necessarily enjoy what's there. It just seems like there's more of it. And it feels like a more complete package in terms of what they want to do. If it does, there are certain things in the game now that do feel a little bit more MMO-like, which they are referring to the game as an MMO.
Yeah.
Which makes sense with how they've designed the game. But it's cool. I do think it is a cool Pokemon substitute. And as far as games that sort of riff off the Pokemon idea, I think this is probably one of the better ones and probably has legs to stand on going forward. Now, if they succeed in that and they keep developing it, we'll see how far that goes. But they have been supporting this game for, it's been like, what, 2-3 years at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy what I played. It's a good palate cleanser until the next Pokemon comes out.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. That's not on Xbox yet, right?
Yeah, it's
it
on
is?
everything. Yeah, it officially launched a couple of days ago. It's everywhere now.
Okay.
I think even Switch, if I'm not mistaken.
Fair enough.
What have you been playing, Fix?
Oh, mate. I've been playing games, boys. So, where do you want me to start? I feel like the most potent one would be NBA 2K23, if we're being totally honest with you. I got NBA 2K23, 2K sent to me, so just thank you 2K for the code. That being said, God damn it, 2K.
Really?
Yeah, so
Not a great game.
NBA 2K23 might be the best basketball game that ever exists, like in terms of the mechanics of basketball. But this year's game, I mean, I'm still early, I've got to be honest with you, with the career, but the career mode is awful. Awful. They have so intertwined career mode, which has always been intertwined, career mode and, like, the city, right? Like, usually what happens, though, is you play your career mode, whether you start off at college, you play your career mode, you get that done, then you transition into the online, pretty much, which is the park and pick up games and rec league and things like that. And last year's game was, my biggest critique of it was, it's the best basketball game ever, but story mode feels it's just there. Like, it's not, and by it's just there, it's very light that it's there. It's there, but you still had, there was still a story. This year's story so far, from what I've played, is very much, you instantly go to the NBA, so there's no college, there's no build up, you play one G League game, which is like the league before the NBA, like it's their sub, if you don't know basketball. You play one G League game, which is the finals, and then that's when you meet your rival. Every year you have a rival character, like, whatever. But this year feels so intertwined with just VC. And VC's always played a huge part in the game, which is the currency, right? Everybody knows. You buy the $100 version of NBA 2K, and on top of that, some people are spending $200, $300, $400 on their characters. That's usually for like the real top level players, multiple builds and things like that. Is that still wrong? Yes, in my opinion, it is. It's very egregious. It's very greedy. It's very predatory. But we've come to that's where we're at, right? Like FIFA has Ultimate Team. We've come to accept that. This year's NBA to me feels even worse for VC. I've put in, so I got given with my code was the Michael Jordan edition, which comes with 100,000 VC. Sorry, I had to do the math there in my head. 100,000 VC. That got my character to 78 rated. So that's $100. They're done. To 78 rated. My character feels like crap. Even more so than it ever has, and it feels like this game, don't get me wrong, every year it's always bad for buying clothes, 10,000 VC, 20,000 VC, like everything costs money, but this year, I don't know why, maybe it's because career mode is just so bad for me, and I've instantly gone to online, because the career mode is so non-existent. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Like, it's very obviously that it's tugging at my pocket to go, come on, put some money in. And I almost have a couple of times. But I think I'm at the point where I'm like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this is this is ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. It takes you forever to gain VC, which it always has, but this year just feels even more so. It doesn't feel fun the way NBA used to feel fun to me, which was you come in, you do your career mode, then you build your character up to, I don't know, an 80 rated, let's say, whatever. Like you get to 80, 85, 82, 83, whatever it is. Then you might buy $20, $30 worth of VC to get the character to a competitive state in online. This year it just feels like it's like, nope, skip all that, give us your money.
Wow.
And I'm not interested.
So significantly worse experience from last year's.
From a point of view of the mechanics of the game, no. Mechanically, the game is better, looks better, feels better. It's the best NBA. It's the best basketball game to exist.
But if you had to pick one to play today, not gameplay wise, just sort of talking about
take me back to 14, bro. Take me back to 14, like.
But if it is up to like a versus, like I'm going to play with my buddy, we're going to pick teams, whatever. You would rather pick this one.
The new version, yeah, because it's still. This year they've slowed down the game so much, like dribbling, right? Like dribbling, you don't have players that can just dribble constantly because of the stamina meter and stuff like that, which means people actually have to play basketball a little bit more instead of just being a greedy fucker on the court, which was always the most annoying thing ever. You know, like you got a guy just doing backwards dribbles the whole damn time, and you're like, I'm open, pass me the ball. Mechanically, it's a much better and sound game for me, but it just feels very egregious at your pockets. Okay.
So for people who don't typically play the career mode and stuff like that, you think
you're going to pick this game up to play as Michael Jordan, not even to do like his career stuff, but to do just like you want to play a basketball game. You've got that. You've got, what do they call the league mode? I can't remember what the league mode is called, but like there's a league mode which is outside of my career and stuff like that. Yes, this is the game worth getting. 100%. 100%.
Got it.
But
yeah, I'm looking at
the I just said it's a pain.
Sorry, I was looking at the Metacritic now, and really the only one that stands out to mention what you're mentioning is IGN's, and they say the exact same thing. I have no interest in shelling out additional cash, even beyond the expensive Michael Jordan edition, or grind for an insane amount of hours just to be able to compete in an online court. So, but it's at 77 on Metacritic, and every other review is like wildly popular.
Yeah, because listen to what I just said. Ultimately,
well, sure.
If you're reviewing the game based on it being a basketball game, it is the best basketball game to ever exist. Like that's why I think like you've got this with that same thing with FIFA and things like that, right? It's very hard to review a sports game nowadays because it gets graphically better every year. Yeah. No matter what. It usually gets mechanically better year over year. But that's not where the problems are. The problems are not in its gameplay or in its mechanics. Its problems are in, like I say, it's microtransactions and how the game makes money.
So, why? Because I'm so not in the, sport game world. So to me, this seems mad. This seems like when EA were doing dodgy shit in like Battlefront, and they got so much pushback from the audience that they were like, oh shit, okay, this isn't the way we do things now. But it seems like sport games have gone so far now that there's no bringing it back. Like, what is the conversation amongst other people who are playing the game?
There's no competition. There's no competition for NBA. There's no competition for FIFA. There's no competition. Like the problem, I saw a tweet about this actually recently that sort of was like, oh yeah, that is the problem, is that there are no more competitions for NFL. Like there are no other games that are competing with these. It is this game. And the experience of playing the game does get better, but they're also like, hey, we're also going to start charging you for more. We're also going to start like, hey, you want to upgrade your character and all this stuff. And that's just ultimately what NBA it is. There is no competition.
NBA 2K has always been this way when it comes to VC and stuff. This is what the game is. So this has been the same thing since, I think I've been playing since 2006, right? No, like 2K6. Back in the day. Yeah. So I can't remember exactly when they brought it in. I think it might have been 12 or 13. This is bringing how it works. But the thing is, I feel like back in the day, we were at least getting the Spike Lee story. So
Yeah.
for me personally, especially back then when I was buying games and not being sent them, I was buying NBA to play the story of being an NBA player and building my person up there. Whether I touched online didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But now the game, especially the last 2 years, the game is so interwoven with the online mode, with the park and rec league and things like that, that I'm like, why am I buying this anymore? Because or playing it, but ultimately it comes down to playing this anymore. Because the career mode in which I loved has been just stripped back and stripped back and stripped back. Because the hardcore of hardcore players, when it comes to NBA, they don't care about the career mode, they skip it. They get the game, they go skip, get to the basketball, which I play FIFA. I understand. I totally agree with you. I felt the same way with the story mode they put in FIFA. Because when you care about a sports game, you want to play sports. But when you're a casual fan, you want the pizzazz that comes with a game, you know? And don't get me wrong, this year's game does have the Michael Jordan Legend mode or the Jordan Challenge mode thing, which lets you relive like Michael Jordan's most iconic moments, and it's done really well. It's very good, again, because the game's so beautiful. It looks amazing. But I'm talking about from my career point of view, it is just a real shame. Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. It is a little bit heartbreaking, to be honest with you. It is. I'm also playing more Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I've gone back. I'm about 20 hours in, 25 hours in, something like that. Thankfully, so I was playing it on GTV, right? And I got to the exact same part that I stopped at in my Xbox campaign. So it was like, I literally switched over and was like, huh. I literally did the same mission. I literally skipped through all the cutscenes, like, I'm up to date, here we go. And I had like all the waypoints unlocked, a bunch of the wealth stuff's done, artifacts done. I was like, I remember why I've put 20 hours into or 15 hours into this game already, because I went around to every part of the bloody map, sinking everything already. Like, yeah, nuts. Absolutely nuts. So I'm playing that, really enjoying that again, which is nice. I know it's not a new game, but I need to get it done before Mirage comes out, as the boys told me, so I am doing just that. Played some more FIFA. We don't need to talk about that. Power Wash Simulator. I finally started that. I was a little bit stressed the other night, so I was like, oh, you know what? Why not? So I did like the opening van where you clean that van for the opener, and like I was like, wow, this game's way more in depth than I was expecting. Like in terms of like different jets and different heat temperatures and like crawling and laying down to get underneath the car bit. And I was like, I can see why people enjoy this. I don't think I'll probably go back and play much more, if I'm honest, but I get it. I finally understand why you were talking so highly of him, Matt.
Good. It's a good game. It's probably not going to make top 10
No.
list for the year, but it's a good game.
Yeah, I did. I also went to the garden mission, the mission after that, and it was like cleaning the pond, and I was like, this is long. Fuck this. No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm good.
It throws you in deep. Like, basically, it alternates each level. So, like, the first level is a van, the next level is an entire backyard, and then it goes back to like one single thing, and then it throws you into a house, and then and the levels get huge. Like the playground is massive, and those levels get big. I think it's to encourage you to jump online with some randos, but fuck that.
They're gonna ruin my passion for the game, you know.
That's why you'll be playing a lot of it, right? Fix your passion.
Yeah, my passion for cleaning. That's why I don't clean my own house. And then the last one that I'll talk about on here is As Dusk Falls. I finally got around to starting that beyond like the first opening bit that I tried before when I had it. I really enjoy it. I think it's a really good game. I played it through with Twitch chat, which ultimately makes everything 20 times better because it's pretty much me arguing with chat. I turned on the Twitch integration mode. They were making decisions, and then I was overriding the ones that I really wanted to change. And I like how they've got it integrated though with the voting system. It's really cool. It's really intuitive. It works, which is nice.
Very cool.
I can't quite get over the art style. It does, from moments to moments, it does catch me off guard and pull me out quite frequently compared to even like a Walking Dead or a Wolf Among Us. There's something about the art style, while beautiful, doesn't resonate with me story-wise as well as, say, a Telltale and things like that. So yeah, I think I only just finished chapter 1 actually, which is about 2.5 hours, something like that. It's like 5 chapters. What are you putting face to that?
That's so much longer than I wanted it to be. I was literally just thinking this is probably one of those games I have to play before the end of the year. But
ultimately,
so
I
much
think it
longer
was
than I
told.
wanted it to be.
I got when I read how long to beat, it says like 6 hours. But like I say, I'm playing it with Twitch chat though, so decisions aren't that much longer for me.
Yeah.
Like they're like 30 seconds a decision. I think it is.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm sure you'd get it through. It's about 7 hours, maybe 8 at a push. I think you'd get it through and done. So
Okay.
Just speedrun it, picking random decisions, and the outcome you get is the outcome you get.
no, do not do that. There's no point even playing the game at that point, is there?
No, I want to play with Emma. We'll get to it.
I feel like you guys would enjoy it. It's just like I say, if you can get over that art style of what it is. The story they're telling is quite interesting. I don't want to spoil it because that's the whole game, but there were some decisions that I made when I overread chat, and it goes a different way than what you were expecting it to go. Like you expected it to go one way, that doesn't, and then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I should have thought that through a little bit more. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
It is.
Should we get into this week's dashboards really quickly before we do anything? Beep. Breaking news from Matt.
It's actually something we forgot to talk about during topic of the show about TGS, and that was the lack of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
It's time to concede. I will take a double
You-
pizza snack.
Fix got video game awards. He's always got something.
To be fair, I did ultimately say that I have no problem conceding
You did.
today, but you said January
end of
1st.
It's true.
You said it, so
I just wanted to remind you, you've fallen at yet another hurdle. on
I
our
just
way
want
to
to
January 5th.
dig.
Yeah, I just wanted us not to get through today's episode without just that reminder. But then we can
How
move
do
on.
you feel, Fix, right now in this moment? How did that make you feel?
I have to be honest with you. I thought it was a slam dunk that I would not this show, but that game not
This
being
year.
on the Xbox is wild to me. Wild. Because I tell you why I thought it was such a slam dunk is I remember when I bought Final Fantasy VII Remake and it had a sticker on the front of it. There was like, and it had underneath it, it had like the release date of when it's ended. Like I remember it like it was yesterday, like exclusive until, and I was like, oh, all right, this game will at some point come, and then that time passed, and we waited, and that time passed,
to PC.
and we waited. It did come to PC, and I think that's where I f***ed up. After we saw the leak, do you remember we saw the leak information that came out about PlayStation and how they do their exclusives and
Yeah.
stuff? I kind of knew then that I was in trouble. I knew then, but I held faith until today because I thought if anyone could put it out of the bag, it was Phil. Even Phil could.
Do you think that faith is gone now?
Oh, it's done.
You don't
That
think-
game's never coming to Xbox.
Do you think part 2 comes to Xbox
I think
at any point?
the only way, I think maybe the wording in the contract for the exclusive of this is Final Fantasy Remake 7 cannot come to Xbox, yeah? But Deluxe Edition, Revamped Edition, Deluxe Edition can come out at some point when this game is done.
I want to offer something different, and it has nothing to do with wording from PlayStation or anything like that. Square Enix just doesn't want to put it on Xbox
Nah, I call bullshit on that.
think so.
I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me.
because they have a good relationship with Sony, and for the rest of the game, Sony's going to be funding these. So you want to keep that relationship going, especially because Square Enix put out the statement of like for AAA games, they're looking to partner with people to fund the games.
Just buy them already and get it over and done with, so I don't have to feel this pain all the damn time. Not that again. And by the way, I'm very fortunate I have a PlayStation 5. I can play these games. It's not a big deal. But ultimately, Xbox plays the fact that they're willing to put Crisis Core Remake on the bloody on Xbox and not
All
not
games
remake.
old, Fix. All
Bro,
games
bro.
old.
But it's new to me, Chris. It's new to me. God damn it. It hurts. It hurts. But January 1st, you'll get your pizza.
It is painful. I understand that. I like how the audience is almost entirely on my side, and I appreciate every single one of you. I see you on Twitter. I love you.
Whatever. First news story. PlayStation's Jim Ryan called Xbox Call of Duty promise inadequate on many levels. Last week, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said the new Call of Duty games will remain on PlayStation platforms for at least, quote, at least several more years, end quote, after Activision's current contract with Sony expires. Now, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan is calling Spencer's offer, quote, inadequate. In a statement to GameIndustry.biz, Ryan said he didn't intend to comment on the business discussion until Spencer brought it out into the, quote, public forum, end quote. Quote, Microsoft has only offered for Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation for 3 years after the current agreement between Activision and Sony ends, Ryan said. After almost 20 years of Call of Duty on PlayStation, their proposal was inadequate on many levels and failed to take account of the impact on our gamers. We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality Call of Duty experience, and Microsoft's proposal undermines this principle. Let's bring Dover.
Over.
Thanks.
Dover? Is that
Into this.
You what I was saying?
Saying, do you think Jim Ryan knows about all the stuff that Sony keeps from Xbox players, such as a year locked exclusives for Destiny and Deathloop, and other games such as Final Fantasy, or so you think he only cares about shareholders? Do you think Phil Spencer is more in touch with console community than Sony is with theirs? So it's a lot to take in here. So let's start at the top, Crash. Let's start at the top. This quote.
Okay.
Jim Ryan. Inadequate. Xbox. 3 years. I'm saying words very slowly here.
Well, actually, not 3 years. Microsoft has offered the Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation for 3 years after the current agreement between Activision and Sony ends. And we have no idea how long that current agreement is.
Well, I'd assume that agreement ends this year.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe not.
No, I think you're wrong. This year.
Why?
Those agreements are probably done year to year.
They're done year
I'd
to
imagine.
year.
I would have thought they would have more plainly said it then. To me, this is a bit of smoke and mirrors of going, actually, it's 5 years, but we're going to say it's 3 to get people riled up a bit more.
No, I think he was being very precise. Like, this is exactly what was offered here to us, and this is not enough. And I think that also feeds into Phil Spencer being like, we want games to be everywhere, sort of already putting Xbox at the good guy segment.
Yeah, can we just real quick, Crash? Can I just touch on that, please?
Yeah.
We want games everywhere is absolute bollocks from Phil Spencer, by the way. I love Phil Spencer, but Phil Spencer wants games everywhere under his terms and how it can benefit Xbox, which we all know that. We all understand that. We're not stupid. If you honestly, we want games everywhere is we want games on Xbox Game Pass and on Xbox Cloud and on Xbox. This is not we want games everywhere. Stop it. Yeah.
What happened after 3 years is you guys want to keep getting Call of Duty? Sure, we want Game Pass on your console is what it would end up being.
Yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, sorry to interject there. We can't. I'm about to call Jim Ryan out on his shit. I can't not call Phil Spencer out on his.
Yeah, of course.
Jim Ryan, stop it. Stop it. Let's not. I'm not gonna be rude and I'm not gonna be mean, but I'm just gonna say stop it. You are the industry leader in video games. You have the best exclusive games on the market. I don't think we're arguing it here, are we?
Yeah.
Stop it. I don't want to hear bullcrap after almost 20 years. Okay, who cares? Who cares about how long a game's been on a system? A company has bought the other company, which it hasn't quite yet, so we need to all be careful. A company is trying to buy another company, and you are going to miss out on huge franchises that make not only your company money, a ton of money, but also know that it's going to impact your bottom line. You don't care about Call of Duty like that. Let's not pretend. You care about how much Call of Duty makes, how much it resonates with a casual audience, and how it's going to negatively impact Sony as a whole.
Honestly, I think this whole situation reads like two school kids arguing on the playground from both sides, where it's sort of like, this is a business deal on both sides. Microsoft's with Phil Spencer, it's like he tells Jim Ryan something, he whispers to him, and then acts like a great person in front of everybody. With Jim Ryan, he's like, that guy did this to me, and blows it out of proportion, and this just cycle goes on and on and on. And I'm just kind of tired of it at this point. Like, the deal's gonna go through, it's not gonna go through, whatever. I just don't want. It feels bad for the two heads to be bickering, non-bickering. They're doing it in a very business way. Like, this is all like about business and all this stuff. And it's like, you guys are millionaires trying to argue on behalf of billion to $1 trillion companies. I really don't care.
Yeah. But I think that's a very mature way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
I think this is very much talking to Xbox players, to Sony players.
Yeah, I think that's...
Where it's a case of like, look, we got your back. Like, we're trying. Don't get us. We're trying to play ball here. And I think you're right. It does come across like two millionaires crying about the smallest minute details. What I will say is, though, if it was me and I'm Phil Spencer, oh, you're in trouble. Because I'd buy up everything. I'd buy up everything that I humanly could buy up. Even things that I'm like, I'd be like, yo, if you want to do this, because I think this is where they've gone wrong, right? Phil Spencer has ultimately said, I'm not on Phil's side, I'm not on anyone's side, but Phil has said, oh, we did offer them, we have said that we'll put it out on for multiple years, which that's more than they have to do. That is an olive branch at the end of the day. Like, that is more than they have to do. A conversation could have been had in 2.5 years, in 2 years' time, to say, oh, you know what, this has worked out really well. We're making a shed ton of money. Let's just keep it where it is. Now, if this deal goes through, again, I'm petty as hell,
absolutely.
but me, bro, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting nothing from me. But again, you've got to look at it from a business point of view. Which is...
And... Sorry, go on.
No, please.
I was going to say, and probably it's ultimately not just Phil's decision to be paid.
Yeah, of course not.
And so the likelihood is board members will see dollar signs and go, yeah, just put it on PlayStation and get a shitload of money.
Sort of. I don't think so because ultimately the board members still have to see the long-term vision with this, which is, I think ultimately you're doing this because you want to give them, you want to play good guy, but you also want to have a point in time where you can go, and now the thing that we've been giving you, come to us for. And I see why Sony are like, you're taking the piss. Because it's like any good drug dealer. You give away a free sample.
Yeah.
You give away a free sample. I know it's not free, but like, you do give away a free sample to get someone hooked, and then you go,
the next 3 years,
now you've got to come to my house to pick it up. Now you got, I used to travel to you to drop off these drugs. Now you've got to come to my house to get them.
Which is the better version of that? Is it going, you can have it for 3 years?
Yes.
And then it's gone? Or is it's exclusive to Xbox for 6 months?
I mean, I think it's a multi-layered question, right? Because I think what Xbox are banking on is when we drop our new console, the conversation of they've got God of War, they've got Last of Us, they've got Final Fantasy, yeah, but we have Call of Duty. And ultimately, we love God of War, we love Final Fantasy, we love Uncharted, we love all these games that are fantastic, Last of Us, whatever. They do not move units the way Call of Duty moves units. And
none of them are Call of Duty.
None of them. Yeah. Not even with Call of Duty in the decline, they are not even close.
Yeah. I think Call of Duty, I think Vanguard outsold Final Fantasy VII Remake by a significant amount. I think it also Final Fantasy 15. I think Final Fantasy as a total franchise, and mind you, came out before Call of Duty, sold 160 million or something like that units. And Call of Duty is at like 400 million or something like that. It's like there is a significant difference in the amount of sales.
Final Fantasy's total sales are 168 million. And and Call of Duty's total sales are they don't have the total sales. They only have the revenue, which is 30 billion. More than 30 billion.
So it's
Divided by no, I'm joking. Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I could see it going either way. I could see Xbox, like you say, pulling the rug and going, you don't get it. I could see him having it for a few years. I could see him having it for 6 months exclusivity. I have no idea how it's going to go. But you're right. Call of Duty is a different beast entirely. It's like a FIFA. I think is the only other thing that I could see having this similar amount of pull.
I would argue Call of Duty probably has more pull than FIFA.
Yeah,
I agree. But I was saying
in comparison,
right. Got you. Yeah.
Ballpark.
Yeah.
Or Fortnite, I guess, but that's different.
But yeah, ultimately, I think Jim Ryan should have shut the hell up and done this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more frustrated at Jim Ryan the way he handled this situation than Phil, and maybe that's because I like Phil more as a human being. I don't think so. I think it's because what he said and what Jim Ryan said felt.
Jim Ryan sort of dropped the mask.
Yeah.
Phil Spencer kept the mask. Like, I think the argument of them being kids in a school ground still holds. But 100%. I do think that Phil kept his composure and like kept nice around people, where Jim Ryan just started throwing a tantrum, like what's going on or whatever.
Phil's answer was approved by Xbox PR. Jim's clearly not.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think Jim's was approved by PR. Approved
Yeah.
by PR.
No way. This is one of the most hypocritical statements I've ever seen in my life. There's no way.
I think it's funny that you say that, Matt. I just wanted to get onto that. Are we like, I don't know what the chat is like on the internet for this. I didn't really see it, to be honest with you. But are we joking about like about games being on like? I don't think what he says is technically wrong, because Uncharted was never on Xbox and Last of Us was never on Xbox, so you can't use those as examples, really. But the same argument is to be had, right? Just exclusives in general.
Yeah, but I think it's accurate, but it's also inaccurate, because Call of Duty is any of those franchises, I think. And it's also Microsoft buying a studio to make stuff exclusives. Whereas, like, if you really want to argue about Final Fantasy's exclusivity and stuff like that, you shouldn't be arguing with PlayStation. It should be Square Enix you're making the argument to, because they're the ones who ultimately make the decision. It's like Contraband's an exclusive. You don't go, you're not arguing about Contraband being an exclusive, even though that's made by a third party.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think these deals have always, I think it's, you're right, it's the magnitude of the game, right?
Yeah. And look, I'm not saying I agree with like Final Fantasy. I wish Final Fantasy was an exclusive and stuff like that. But like, if you're looking at it at a totality sort of situation, I do think that this is a very unique situation just because of how big Call of Duty is.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to Xbox, though.
Oh, absolutely.
They bought Activision for a reason. They did buy Activision. You don't spend that type of money to not make things exclusive. Ultimately, at some point.
I agree.
So,
or get something out of it, even if like the problem is, even if like realistically this game stays multi-platform, at some point in time Xbox gets the better end of the stick from Sony. They get something out of Sony that Sony otherwise wouldn't have wanted to give.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, do you think there's no, it's a stupid thing. Move on.
Go on.
But it's stupid. I was going to say, do you think there's a world in which, it's so long-winded, that they somehow incorporate cloud services into Battle.net, they keep Battle.net running as a third-party thing, and they have a Battle.net app on PlayStation allowing you to stream Call of Duty that way?
No.
I agree. That's why I didn't want to say it.
But no, but
it's a good thing you didn't want to say that.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't want to say it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'll be all week.
We didn't answer the question really though. Is Jim Ryan out of touch, or does he only care about shareholders? Yes, his job is to care about shareholders. His job is not to care about anything else.
Both these people, like, they're in the same situation. I think Microsoft's as a whole has been more community focused. So
Agree.
Phil Spencer is in the better position from an argument standpoint. But if you switch positions with Xbox and PlayStation on who's the bigger console, you end up in the same situation, just flipped. We've seen it time and time again. It consistently happens. It is a repeating thing in the industry.
Yep. Well, it's until Xbox have their exclusivity with COD and they get the marketing details with PlayStation, the marketing details with FIFA, and then they control the marketing with Madden and all of these games again like they did in the 360 era, Xbox are going to be in second place. Because ultimately, I think more core gamers want to play single-player experiences from the best studios in the world, and currently, that is being made at Sony. Sucks to say, but that's the truth. Next up, GoldenEye has been announced for Xbox. This tweet comes from Rare. It says 25 years after the original release, experience GoldenEye 007 faithfully recreated for Xbox consoles, including achievements, 4K resolutions, and smoother frame rates, even in split-screen local multiplayer, coming soon to Game Pass. Now, guys, this opened up a whole can of worms because this was announced at Nintendo's Direct and said that it was coming with online.
It's online split screen.
What?
It's still split. The game is still split screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the way they do is they double the emulation to what both people are seeing, but it's still split screen.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
It's how the tech works that they made, because it's actually like somewhat impressive tech from Nintendo as far as online goes. But it is just essentially two versions of the same game where everything is the exact same on the on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are pissed. A lot of people are well, not pissed, but some people were sort of like confused. And is Xbox the best place to play this game and all that stuff? And
you would have played the online for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And this game is one of those games, yeah? I loved GoldenEye as a kid. Growing up playing 007 on M64 was some of the best memories I have in gaming, bar none. But you were going to play this for about an hour with your friends and go, oh, should we go back to COD? Or any other game. There's no way of sticking on this.
I think it's worth a Monday night stream.
Well, it's not for us now. I mean, unless you play the story mode, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay. So, no, what I meant, I don't mean the story mode I think you'll play through. Because of achievements, because of like just wanting to reminisce through these maps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm all about the online stuff. That was something you were going to play for an hour. Like, no one really... I don't think anybody who... I do think there's an argument to be had that this is a lesser version than the Nintendo version, sure. But it's in Game Pass, so it's not costing you anything extra anyway. If you've got
Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I understood. I know the argument's going to be there of, well, if I don't have Game Pass, well, that's because you're.
Because we know Game Pass isn't free, fix.
100%, it is not free. It definitely costs money.
Can we have a little peek behind the curtain here, and say we didn't put this as an E3 prediction because we thought it was a guaranteed thing we knew was happening at E3, and then it didn't. So what happened? Do you think Nintendo stepped in and was like, "Oh no, we want it for a Direct later on"?
No, I think it was Nintendo's announcement to announce, right?
Yeah, Nintendo
owns the IP of this, yeah. So ultimately, I don't think this is the James Bond game we were talking about. There's still a rumored / leak another 007 game that's out there in the world. I don't know who it's from, but I'm just saying. I know IO one's been announced, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I thought there was another one.
Oh,
besides,
I thought the rumor was for 007 GoldenEye being quote unquote remastered.
Okay, then maybe I'm wrong.
Game coming to Game Pass.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I wonder if Pierce Brosnan's getting a check for this. I hope so.
I would imagine so. But who knows? Because this game came out so long ago that who knows what type of deals they were making for games back then.
Don't say it like that. I remember when this game launched.
Yeah.
I'm that old.
Have the gray hair started coming in?
No, they haven't. They haven't. I'm doing.
Good.
I'm doing A-OK on that front. I just put in M46. That
Oh, you want
doesn't-
to see when the game came out?
I did want to see when the game came out. Yeah, it came out 1997.
It
I was 2.
3.
5.
It's fine.
But I remember it being out. I remember buying it. I remember my mum getting it for me. I remember having the Rumble pack, and I remember everything.
I think I
Oh.
played this for the first time on an emulator, naughty, in like school, in like secondary school.
And I'd be 100% honest with you guys.
You've never played it. You've never touched
I've
it.
never played this game.
Yeah, I mean
shit.
that doesn't
game.
surprise me if I'm honest. This was the game Crash. You know, like
Believe it.
the way COD was, the way COD is now. Like
Wait, Halo 2?
you and
I
four
believe
friends.
it.
You and 4 friends in a house. I remember going to my friend James Chitty's. Yeah, Chitty, not shitty. Chitty, chitty.
I heard what I heard, and then
Yeah,
you said it, and I'm like, did I hear what I hear?
No.
Or Shitty James.
And I remember us lot playing this game. Me, him, his brother, a girl called Bella, and we just used to destroy this game. It was the best. Big head mode, golden gun mode. It was just the best. We didn't deserve it.
That's true. It'll break a lot of hearts out there, but if this announcement was for 007 Nightfire, I'd be way more excited
Oh,
because that was my
Which one's Nightfire?
Get off the podcast. I hate
so
you.
good.
No
on
one
Game
cares.
Yeah,
Pass.
was that PS2?
Yes.
I think it was on PS2. I played it on Game
Yeah.
Pass.
I think I played that one. That one was actually fun. I'm with
Sick.
you, Matt.
So good.
Nightfire was, yeah. I think it was PS2. You're right. Alright, anyway, moving on. We got 3 new
Yakuza's.
We got 3 new Yakuza games announced. Like a Dragon 8. I'm baffled, Crash.
Okay,
I'm
so
baffled.
Like a Dragon is the official name of the franchise in Japan.
That's what
So
I
they're
assumed.
transitioning
Crash.
to calling
That's
them
what I
all
assumed.
Like a Dragon at this point. So I
So
don't
they're
think
not-
you're going to be getting Yakuza games anymore, per se, but you're going to be getting Yakuza games. As far as I'm aware, they're transitioning the titling for the games in
Because
the north
Yakuza's
or in the
like
west.
is so in the West, we're getting Like a Dragon
Yeah.
games. So what about
That's my understanding. My understanding is that's what they refer to the games in like Japan, is that they are Like a Dragon games.
Got you.
My understanding could be completely incorrect because I'm not super well versed in the franchise.
No,
Matt
nor
looks
am
very
I.
confused.
Nor am I. The only Yakuza game that I've ever played was Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
But that didn't have a number after it. So now I'm seeing Like a Dragon 8, and I'm like, is this
That's the JRPG
is this the one I want to play?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the turn-based one. So
Okay.
they're going to be transitioning those into like the mainline titles as far as I'm aware.
Ah,
So like
okay.
more of the open world, like traditional stuff is going to become the side games now.
So they're going to be the other games that are being announced, Like a Dragon,
Well,
Inchi.
Yeah. Ishin is
Ishin.
a remake of a game that came out in like 2014, I think, or
course.
something like that.
Of course.
Yeah. And then the other one is a new game that uses the old main protagonist and is going to be a tie-in to 8 because 8 has 2 main protagonists, the character from Like a Dragon and the character from the previous games, but it's all turn-based.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about some of this stuff, mind you, but
No,
I'm
no,
pretty sure I got it
you've
pretty
nailed
spot
it.
on.
You've nailed it. You've nailed it.
I feel
So I
sick.
should be excited for Like a Dragon 8
Yes.
because
That
I
is the one
really
that you
I
will-
did enjoy
yes.
Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yes, yes.
Though I never finished it, which is very upsetting, but I did really enjoy what I played of it. Okay, I'll be excited for that one. No problem.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Matt, any thoughts?
I have literally
Devastated.
no idea what's been happening for the past 10 minutes. Like, this is wild to me. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I wouldn't
Okay.
know where to start. I hear so many good things about this series, and now I'm like, well, if I haven't got a fucking clue where to go.
Play Judgment.
I've heard good things about Judgment. The only
What's
game
Judgment?
I've played is Like a Dragon as well. I haven't played any of the other Yakuza games.
Like a Dragon, good game.
Very good game. Very,
Wait,
very good game.
Which one do I play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So
seven?
I think if you want a turn-based Yakuza / Like a Dragon game, start with Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon, because that's the perfect place to carry on from the new one, what's coming out, which is 8.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, also Like a Dragon 8 or not 8, like Yakuza Like a Dragon is not super connected to the other games, but it very much tonally is the same.
Yes.
So that would probably be the best spot to start. So Yakuza Like a Dragon. Not Like a Dragon 8 or Like a Dragon whatever.
Yeah.
You got it, Matt?
No, am I going crazy? How can we have been talking this long and nobody said the number 7? What is happening? I don't know.
Well, because
7 was already a game.
That's already out. That's done. He's giving up. He's giving up.
Completely defeated.
Moving on. Halo lead Bonnie Ross is leaving 343 Industries and Xbox. Industry and Microsoft veteran Bonnie Ross is announcing her plan to leave the company today with an intent to focus on her family. Microsoft also announced the leadership team is undergoing something of restructured, splitting Bonnie Ross's role into 3 parts to better save the franchise's growing footprint, which is now includes TV and other cross-media projects. Studio veteran and production lead Pierre Hintz will become studio head of 343 Industry, effective immediately, leading the studio's ongoing development on Halo Infinite and the Master Chief Collection, as well as future games. The leadership team will expand with new roles, including Brian Koski, who will become GM of the franchise, and Elizabeth Van Wacken, who will oversee business and operations. Big news, Bonnie Ross leaving, everyone. Big news.
Yeah. I do want to say I don't think this has to do with the recent kerfuffle for 343 not working on Halo anymore. I think this is probably a plan because in her statement she had said that she was planning on leaving after the winter update. So I think that just sort of expedited it a little bit. So it seems like this has been like in the works or something that's been going to happen. I hope this leads to good stuff for Halo Infinite. Pierre Hintz, I'm pretty sure, is the person who worked on Master Chief Collection and sort of fixed that from what it was. Yeah. So there is a bit of a silver lining there.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good thing they've got things in place for this to happen. Obviously, Halo is going nowhere in Xbox's plans, though I think it should be put on ice for a little bit from after this game, personally, my opinion. But, yeah, man, congratulations to Bonnie, everything she's done in the industry. She's been with Xbox, been with Microsoft, I should say, for as long as I've been covering Xbox, so wild.
I think it's like 27 years she's been there. So she's been there about as old as I am.
As long as I've been alive. As long as I've been alive, like, that's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
So shout out indeed. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty is the first expansion, won't be on last-gen consoles. CD Projekt Red announced that Cyberpunk's 2077's first major expansion is called Phantom Library and will be released on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC and Stadia. Announced during the Night City Wire live stream, the expansion marks the first major addition of new content to Cyberpunk 2077 outside of the various patches that fixed the game following its disastrous launch. Hello, once again, my Xbox and Me audience. How are you doing? I apologize for the abrupt ending once again on this week's My Xbox and Me. My internet still just won't hold up. We tried to end the episode 3 times and my internet just kept dropping out. So I do apologize. No plug this week, and we didn't get to cover the rest of the news or the questions. Still a lengthy episode though. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Until next time, we will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbyes. Remember when I said I'm a hypocrite?